Breaking news. Amanda Anisimova clinches victory in Beijing. New champion crowned. Crown collision. The city of Beijing never truly sleeps. Neon reflections from glass towers shimmered across the streets as the last echoes of practice balls faded into the night air. Amanda Anisimova sat quietly in her hotel room. The lights dimmed, her racket lying beside her like an old friend. On the table, a photograph of her younger self. Braces, ponytail, a dream glowing in her eyes. Tomorrow was the final, her second chance, her moment. But under that calm exterior, the war inside raged. She had been here before, moments away from glory, only to watch it slip through her fingers. Injuries, breaks from the game, the whispers she was promising once. She looked out the window at the flickering Beijing skyline and whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, I take back my story." The morning of destiny. The morning sun cut through the smog like a blade. The streets buzzed with anticipation. Every billboard outside the National Tennis Center carried her face beside the words. Anisimova versus Swiatek, the battle for Beijing. Her coach handed her a small towel as she entered the player lounge. "Are you ready?" he asked. Amanda smiled faintly. "I've been ready since I was 12. Across the room, IGA Swiatek, composed, collected, the reigning powerhouse, stretched in silence. The air between them was charged with quiet respect. Two warriors who had faced pain, triumph, and doubt. But Amanda's eyes carried something new. Not fire, but clarity. The first serve. The stadium filled to capacity. 15,000 roaring fans. Flashes from cameras painting the air. Commentators whispered as Amanda walked to the baseline in her white kit trimmed with gold. She looked different, sharper, leaner, her every movement deliberate. The first serve flew like lightning. Ace. The crowd gasped. Second serve. Another ace. Swiatek blinked, almost smiling. "So that's how it's going to be," she muttered. Amanda's rhythm was unlike anything Beijing had seen all week. Her forehands cracked like thunderclaps, each one painting the lines with surgical precision. 6-3. First set, Anisimova. The stadium trembled. The dragon of Beijing stirred. Shadows of the past. But between games, Amanda's mind wandered. Every cheer carried echoes of the years she'd nearly quit. The endless therapy sessions, the loneliness of airports, the grief that once swallowed her will to play. Her father's voice returned to her, from a time long ago when she was just a child in Miami. "Amanda, talent is a gift, but belief is what makes it immortal." She blinked away the memory and focused again. The second set was slipping. IGA had adjusted, fighting back with ferocity. 6-4, Swiatek. The match was now one set all. The battle was about to become a war. The turning point. Third set. The crowd divided. Some chanting for the Queen of Poland, others for the reborn star of America. At 3-3, Amanda faced break point. Swiatek unleashed a brutal forehand down the line. Unreturnable, almost perfect. Almost. Amanda sprinted, reached, and flicked the ball with impossible touch. A backhand slice that danced over the net and died on contact. The crowd exploded. She pumped her fist. "Let's go." That point changed everything. The fire within. From that moment on, Amanda was unshakable. Every shot, every breath felt divine, as if destiny had reached down to guide her racket. She played not just for victory, but for redemption. For every year she was written off. For every doubt she had buried. For the father she had lost. Her heart was no longer afraid of the weight of greatness. At 5-4, she served for the championship. The final game. Silence filled the arena. First serve. Ace. 15-0. Second point. Blistering forehand winner. 30-0. Third point. Long rally. Swiatek forced an error. 40-0. Triple championship point. Amanda stood still for a moment, eyes closed, breathing deeply. She could hear the faint rustle of flags, the murmur of 15,000 hearts waiting for history. She tossed the ball. Served. Swiatek returned deep. Amanda charged the net, sliced across the ball, and watched as it kissed the line. Out of reach. Game, set, and match. Anisimova. The roar of Beijing. For a moment, time stopped. Amanda fell to her knees. The roar from the crowd was deafening. Cameras flashed. Confetti exploded like fireworks. She looked up at the sky, tears falling freely, and whispered, "Thank you, Dad. We did it." IJ walked over, smiling, pulling her into a hug. "You earned every bit of this," she said. Amanda nodded, still trembling. "This isn't a comeback," she said softly. "It's a rebirth." The press room. Hours later, the press conference room overflowed. The world's journalists fought for a word. One reporter asked, "Amanda, after everything you've been through, how'd you find the strength to return and win here?" She smiled faintly. "Because I learned that the heart doesn't retire. It just waits for the right moment to rise again." Another asked, "You've now won 2 WTA 1000 titles this year. What's next?" Her answer was simple. "Joy. I want to play for joy again." The message to the world. That night, Amanda posted on social media, "For everyone fighting silent battles, this one is for you. You are not broken. You are becoming." Dizzy. Within hours, the post reached 20 million views. Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Coco Gauff, and even Billie Jean King reposted it with one word: champion. But Amanda wasn't celebrating fame. She was celebrating freedom. The freedom to play without fear again. The streets of Beijing. Later that night, long after the ceremony ended, Amanda slipped out of the hotel wearing a hoodie and walked the empty streets. Vendors packed up their stalls. Lanterns swayed in the cool breeze. She walked until she reached the steps of the Beijing National Tennis Center, now silent. She sat down and smiled to herself. "I did it," she whispered into the night. And somewhere, she felt the echo of her father's voice again, soft, proud, eternal. "You never left, Amanda. You just needed to find your light again." The morning after, when she woke, the world had changed. Her face graced every front page. Anisimova's redemption run, a new queen rises in Beijing. From darkness to glory, Amanda's unbreakable comeback. She turned on her phone and saw thousands of messages, from fans, from players, from strangers who said her story gave them hope. It wasn't just a tennis victory. It was a healing. The interview that shook the internet. That afternoon, during a live interview, a reporter asked, "Amanda, what does being a new Beijing champion mean to you?" She paused, thinking, then said something that would be replayed around the world. The next challenge. The 2026 season awaited. Reporters asked if she felt pressure to defend her title. She laughed. No pressure, just gratitude. And as she stepped onto the court again, she carried with her not the burden of expectation, but the freedom of rebirth. Epilogue, the eternal flame. Years later, sports historians would call it the Beijing miracle. They'd replay her match, her tears, her words, studying the moment Amanda Anisimova transformed from player to legend. But for Amanda, it was simpler. Beijing wasn't where she won again. It was where she found herself again. And in that rediscovery, amid the roar of 15,000 hearts, the world found something too. Proof that no story is ever over until you decide it is. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.